Okay, this lecture we're going to kind of introduce Navisworks, kind of show some of the Navisworks workflow, and how to take a project, a Revit project, and get it into Navisworks, get it organized, so that you can do some clash detection in there and be able to navigate the program. So that's kind of the overall goal. And so when we're dealing with Navisworks, it all starts with, most of the time you're going to have a design team, engineer, MVP engineer, structure, and architect. And you're going to have all these models that are built and set up and hopefully coordinated by that design team. So now we've taken that model, which is what you show here. I have a model that's set up of just a basic building, a basic small office complex that you can see here. And it's going to have everything that's kind of set up. If we could go through, we could look at the other different items in here. And so one of the things that I did is I created different 3D views. And the reason I created different 3D views is because I wanted to isolate these as potential trade partner groups to try to simulate what's going on. And so let's just say that now the contractor has a team, the GC's doing it, and we have multiple subs there. Common subs, we're going to have a structural sub. It's going to be doing the steel, the foundations. So that's going to be placed in the model. A lot of times who's going to represent that structure is going to be the general contractor, because you typically don't modify the structure very much to accommodate. Usually it's what's there, and then you have to start working with it. Another one of the trades that you'll have is going to be plumbing. And so what we've done here is it's simple as a VV hit visibility graphics, and we've isolated basically only items that are associated with plumbing. Okay, and we put that in a 3D view. So you're also going to have a mechanical contractor. So here's the ductwork that's drawn, and we're going to have an electrical contractor. And so here we've put in some lights, electrical gear, and some conduit racks that are in here to get this set. And okay, so it's very important to isolate all these items that are set in your model. And this one here basically is turned on, and we have all the trade partners that are set on, have everything in there. But most of the time we're going to have different models. So as far as the first step is doing your clash detection is to try to organize these sets between your trade partners. And if you're the general contractor, then you're just going to be the more overall broad person that's set up with that. Does that make sense? And all these individual subs or trade partners are going to be setting their own models. Okay, so now what we'll do is, this is one file just to keep it simple. So what I'm going to do is first, as I'll kind of navigate who I am and what I'm doing. So let's say I'm the general contractor, and I'm going to set up a Navisworks model so that way we can do clash detection and be essentially the BIM VDC manager between all the trade partners to coordinate our clashes. And so what I'll do is I'll hit File, Export, and I'm going to export this to a Navisworks file here. Okay, I've saved these down as ArcGen. I use ARC, which is my initials, right? And so I want you to save each one of these down. So you see I got the architectural, electrical, plumbing. So I have 5 of them that are set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so what you need to do is be sure that you export out everything. I'll go ahead and save. You just save it as, I'll keep it all in this example here. I'll just save, I'll say replace it. Okay, then I need to go to the next view, and I want to be sure that I export out every single view that I have. So I'll hit File, Export, and when I'm exporting, I'm only exporting a Navisworks file for just the stuff that I see on my screen here only. So that's why I've broken it out between keeping all those families together. So this is my electrical one. Yep. I'm going to let everybody else go ahead and export out the mechanical, export out the plumbing. Again, use those nomenclatures and then dash whatever your initials are. You don't have to use your middle like I did. You could just use 2. Okay, so Navisworks kind of starts with the Revit model that's built by the design team, but typically the engineer or architects aren't that concerned about clashes as they should be. Most of the time, they're just concerned about, hey, will it work? Yes or no? And then a lot of the stuff used to get worked out on the field. Now we're trying to do this pre-construction items here. So it's called pre-con. So we can start getting these clashes done, get our RFIs in early, save your guys in the field time. So now that we're done with Revit here, we're going to open up Navisworks. So there should be a desktop there. I just downloaded Navis. Let's see if I can't. Here it is. There's Navisworks Manage 2020 or whatever latest one that you have available. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to create a new Navisworks file. There we go. We have it set. All right, so to stay organized, we're going to take those exported views that we have and we're going to amend those in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file. It's not letting me save. I don't have anything in there. So I'll hit home. I'm going to hit amend, adds geometry and data from selected files to the current 3D model. Appending retains duplicate content such as geometry and markups. So we didn't duplicate any conduit here, or any stuff. Everything's new. So I'll hit plus. All right, I will go to, if you look here, I've saved an example. You're going to actually need to open up and say all files, or I could say like all Navisworks files. And so when we export it out, it comes out as an NWC. And what we want to do is we want to take these NWCs and we're going to merge them to get to what's called an NWF that you see here. There's 313. We're going to make that. So I'm going to go ahead and amend my ARC file. I'll hit open. Okay, so now I have all my geometries in here. I'm going to do append again. I'll do electrical. Append again, HVAC. Append again, plumbing. You can see how the pipe came in. So now if I hide this, I'm going to hit hide. I'm going to hide the roof. You're going to see everything that's in here. So now put this in as well. I'll put the structure in. So now we have the structural, everything loaded that we're concerned with where we're going to have issues or potential problems. And over here in the selection tree, you can see that all the Navisworks files are isolated so we can easily navigate. And again, we really broke it up by trade partners that are going to be putting it into. So trade partners supplied these. We, as the BIM VDC manager for the general contractor, we've merged them all together. Now we're not quite ready. Now we have our Navisworks model set up, but what we need to do is a little bit of cleaning up this to make it more manageable as we go through the clash detection process. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit file. I will save as, and I'm just going to resave it. I want to be sure that I save it as a .nwf file. So be sure you save down here. 2016, 2020. I will hit save. I'm going to go ahead and replace it. You'll have a new file. So now we have everything set. All right, just some basic navigation here. You can see moving around, 3D views good. I use my wheel here just to roll in and out. If I hold it down, I can pan. I'm holding the shift key and holding my mouse wheel down to let me navigate around to where I want. So that's kind of one option. Oftentimes I like to view there's a cube here. If I could view sections, there's a way to view some sections here. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. View here, perspective. Nope. Keep that aligned. Enable sectioning. So a lot of times I like to enable the sectioning with the planes. I'm sorry, box here. There we go. And what I'll do with that is I kind of pull it out so I can, oops, enable sectioning here. Okay. So once I get a section, I can move it around, move it back. There's a way to do the planes on the boxes here. We can move the planes out. We can look at different angles that we have. I use the planes that way in case I want to cut a section here, do something. So I'll let you play around with those different items that you have that are available. You have to change the current planes here to different plane 2. Now I can do something different. So just some basic guides. I'm going to click off enable sectioning. So now I have my view back. That's set. Okay. The next thing I want to look at is, if you notice here, what's probably the most important part of Navisworks is the clash detection. And what takes place in the clash detection are typically the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing items. And so if we overall look at this here, you're going to see that we have stuff to select and pick. So I could select this here, select ductwork, select all the different items. And so there's some items that you can do in Navisworks to pre-select different items and change them. We're dealing with a very small building here, and so I'm just selecting example 6 windows, holding the shift key. That's not a lot. But if we had a really big building, multi-story, 10, and we're dealing with all the windows that you have to select or ductwork, it becomes quite a bit. So the way you do that is you can basically start setting up what's called search sets. And so we set the search sets here, and then we can easily click through those search sets. We can organize them. We can assign colors to them. And so we're going to set up, I'm going to show you how to set up 2 search sets, and then your homework you have a little bit more search sets to go ahead and get through. So what I'm going to do here is I will go to Home, sorry, View, Windows. I will select okay, so let's hit found it here. Go to Windows, Find Items. Okay, so now once we have Find Items up here, this lets us search our Navisworks model for everything. But before we have to do that, we want to know some parameters about what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to move this over here to the side fast. And I'm going to find 2 parameters. Again, your homework has more parameters to find. So I am going to select the domestic water, cold water, domestic water. And if you don't have your Properties tab, I'm going to close that out. If you don't have your Properties tab, hit View, Properties. And once I select that, I can do item, what it is, elements, phase created, system type. And so all these parameters come in from Revit, and they continue through. So if you're working in a nice office model that you have, you can have certain parameters that you have in there to get it done. And so here you see system type is domestic hot water. We have the element that we're going to search by, and we're going to run this through to be sure we can find all those items. So what I want to do is I want to be sure that I highlight all of my models and Navisworks work sets. I'll click category here. I'm going to search by the element. So, find here, find element. We'll do property, system classification. Condition. And this is similar to that sorting and grouping that you have in Revit. So I'm going to say equals, and then I'll use domestic cold water. And now I can find all those items there. So find all. So what it does is it finds all my domestic cold water that's set. And so the next thing, once I have it all highlighted, I'm going to go over here and hit Save Search. So I'm going to hit Save Search on my selection tree. Now I can put domestic water. I'll say domestic cold water. All right. So now I have a saved search. So whenever I select on my sets over here, okay, where I'm creating my search sets, now I have my domestic cold water. Everything is set there, and it looks just fine. So what we're trying to do is eventually get so we can quickly find everything that we're looking for. The next thing that I want to look at is I'm going to click here on the properties for this one. It's duct insulation. It's return duct. I want to find my supply air. And so I have my supply air that's set. So once I have that supply air that's found, I'll use my same here, system classifications equals, and then now I'm going to find my supply air. And the way I'll do that, find all. It selects everything that's there. Okay. And I'll do my binoculars, and I'll set supply air ductwork. Okay, so those are the two that I'm going to find. I'll find one more here, see if I can. I'll just show you where it's at. So here's my electrical conduit. So here's my conduits that's set here. That's my category. So I want to be sure that I have all my category fittings that are set there. And this one's going to be a little different. So once I know that, I'll go to find items. Element, name, EMT, conduit without fittings. Here's my conduits. Okay, so we'll have that set. So it looks like I need to look in category. I want to do by category by conduits instead of doing elements here. And so you can change those items around. And let me see if I can get this found. I will find. There we go. You can search by different items. Okay. We're going to do this conduit here. So I'm going to hit category, element, go back, and that's under category. Condition, I'm going to use contains here, and I want to pick up anything that says conduit. I'll hit find all. Now you can see the conduit that was hidden here. I will do the binoculars, and I will give it a electrical conduit. Okay, so that's just an overall view of just how search sets work. And then so once we have those search sets, what we want to do is we want to get them organized a little bit. So what we'll do to do that is, like I said, everything's gray, but I want to change a couple of those colors in here that's set. And so to do that, I'll go to Window, and I'll do the Appearance Profiler. So I get the Appearance Profiler up, I'll drag it over here, and you can see by the different sets, we have different sets that are the sets that we made here. We have, so domestic cold water, each color can be defined different depending on who the trade partner is that's in there. And so there's really no key. Domestic cold water for me is going to be blue. So I'll hit OK, and then you want to be sure that you add that over. and then we'll hit supply air. Supply air, I'm going to make a teal color, hit OK. And electrical conduit, I'll select this and I'll hit yellow, hit OK. As I'm doing this, I forgot supply. I need to be sure that I add that over. I'll hit run, and now what I've done is I've changed my colors in my overall Navisworks item here. All right, so much easier to read. There's some other colors I want you to be sure you get completed in there, so please keep that in mind. So now we have our project organized a little better, right? And so the next thing that we can move to, now that we have our set up, we have all of our disciplines named in there, we have our trade models set, we're starting to organize our colors. So now what we can do is run our clash detection. And so I think for that we're going to move to the next video. So once you get this set up, you're good. And then we'll run our clash detection in another video. Thanks.